Right, if Celtic go on to win the title this season, tonight is the kind of night that we'll probably look back on a really eventful evening at Pittodrie. Celtic won 3-2, in case you didn't know. First half was excellent, free-flowing football, the kind of stuff that we've seen from Celtic of late. Second half was more of a slog, and it turned into quite an ugly victory in the end. Probably not too dissimilar from a lot of results we've seen this season. It's been, there's been games when Celtic have really turned on the style, but I think, my kind of overall, thoughts and memories of this season so far would be nights like tonight when we haven't exactly been at our best for long spells, but have still found a way to win. Every game against Aberdeen this season has been like that. We've found a way to win them all, despite them being tight games, and this team deserves a lot of credit. I don't know why I'm rambling myself, because we've got Stevie on as well. Stevie, we need to just address the large issue. I was going to say the elephant in the room, but I'll use that phrase all the time. You're wearing it, the body warmer. Count yourself very fortunate that Jota found that winning goal, because we'd be coming for you right now.
Yeah, well, I know, God help us, but yep, it's pulled through. A lot like Celtic, it's flawed and it's not perfect, but it's pulled through tonight. It doesn't zip all the way up, but I will still be wearing it. And yet again, I've yet to see us lose with this wonderful apparel on.
Where does this end? How far do we go without Celtic losing before the body warmer actually gets the recognition it deserves?
It's going to get to the point. It's all a laughing joke now, but see, when I'm having to wear this in May with nothing on underneath, there's going to be a wee bit of an issue there, I think. So I'm going to have to come up with something if we're still unbeaten. It's definitely, it's a lucky ritual and all that, but realistically, can't be doing this in May and all that when that warm weather comes in, so there has to be an alternative. So that's one for the viewers. Think of something. How can I get around it?
You absolutely will be doing it if we're still going for the quadruple in May and still winning. You will be wearing that body warmer. I don't care how warm it is. I don't care if we're in Albania for the Conference League final and it's 60 degrees outside. You're continuing with that on. Will we chat about the football though?
Yes, please.
Before we actually get into tonight's game, and we saw the lineup coming out, a couple of wee interesting things in there. Mainly that JJ wasn't in the starting lineup. Should we be concerned at all about that?
Well, I did hear before, I was genuinely concerned, and when all that news about Pitbull was coming out and everything, you're wondering, well, is he on tour with him or something? But yeah, I think you saw right there in the times in the second half, Hamish, we needed JJ. JJ knows how to slow the game down. He's very composed and calming the ball. Aberdeen were getting a lot of joy down our left, and Ralston, I wouldn't say he was terrible, but you could tell at times like he just doesn't have the quality of Juranovic. And it was like a tough away game we saw against Hart. Juranovic was able to take the sting out of the game. He knew when to go forward. He knew when to, and generally he was just very good at keeping the ball. But it was a blow tonight, and I hope it's nothing too serious. Obviously, against Raith Rovers, I don't think we're going to miss them too much, but we'll certainly need them for next week's fixtures, Hamish. And like yourself, and like everyone else, I just hope it's a small issue and it's nothing major, because that would be a massive deal if it was to be out for some of our more important games coming ahead, and this, what is a important title run now.
Yeah, I mean, Ange wasn't asked about it, weirdly enough, on the BBC radio before the game. I'm assuming he'll be asked about it afterwards by, whether it be press or, even Celtic's own media department. So I'm sure we'll get some sort of information with regards to why Juranovic wasn't playing tonight. Who knows, it may just have been tactical, it may have been a more physical presence, but I did think it was a wee bit interesting, especially after him not playing, or certainly starting the game on Sunday against Motherwell. Tom Rogic not starting as well, only actually got 5 minutes or so, Tom Rogic at the end, but I suppose when you've got so many midfield options, it's less of a major issue when we see how well O'Reilly played. What did you think of the first half overall, because we really did play some good stuff?
Yeah, I thought we controlled the first half. We didn't let Aberdeen get into any rhythm at all, Hamish. Generally, first 10 minutes were scrappy, and then after that we just took control. It was weird though, we were 2-0 up without their keeper being really threatened either. I don't think we created anything clear cut, but at the same time Aberdeen were terrible. They were rarely an hour half, and we just looked very comfortable. O'Reilly was excellent. I thought Jota as well, just brilliant in that first half. But overall, yeah, I really felt I was so at ease for large parts of that game, and I know everybody says going to Pittodrie, and you do have to work hard, you have to play well to win up there, but never once felt at any point, certainly in that first half, we were going to see a second half like we did. Celtic were complete cruise control, probably as well, Hamish, without really getting out of second gear as well.
It happens a lot in our games this season. Easter Road is a real, similar game, I would say, to today. Obviously, the scoreline was slightly different. And even the last time we went to Pittodrie, it just felt so easy in the first half. The opposition, Aberdeen tonight, Hibs that time, seemed in disarray. And we were just cutting through them.
Tynecastle even recently.
Yeah, it felt a wee bit too easy. And then in the second half, it almost flipped. We will come on to the second half in a wee while. While we're chatting about the first half, I think Matt O'Reilly is someone we should definitely chat about. Just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, what a find that guy is. He's almost gone under the radar because of how good Hatate has been. And I think, if we're honest, because, let's face it, signing someone from Milton Keynes, I was trying to think, what does MK stand for? Milton Keynes. It's near kind of London, isn't it? That kind of area. It's much less glamorous than signing someone from Japan or signing 3 players from Japan. So he's gone under the radar a little bit. But what a player that guy is! What an absolute find! And when you think this is him, he's only 21. I think it was only maybe his 4th or 5th game this evening, and he's putting in performances like that. This guy is going to be a mainstay of this Celtic midfield for years to come, unless someone takes a punt on him very soon. And the way he's playing, you really wouldn't put it past a team in the Premier League right away to slap in a big bid for him.
Yeah, let's just go easy on that one. Let's enjoy him now. But yeah, I think when O'Reilly came on against Motherwell at Fir Park, he looked so motivated. He looked so hungry. He was already putting he set up Maeda with a goal, and then he almost set him up with a second one when the wee man put the ball over the bar. But yeah, I think O'Reilly just takes up some great positions. He's brilliant off the ball, Hamish.
Very impressive. Touch is so good.
Aye, very impressive player, and I liked the position for the first goal. The ball that he put in for Jota can't be overlooked. It's such a hard one to deal with. Ramsey, who I think is quite a competent right back, he did not know what to do when that ball came in. The pace on it, the bend, it was just Jota just needed to put anything on it. It was just such a fine assist, and it was very similar to the position. I like Hamish that when you see O'Reilly, he's not just hanging about in the centre, he's very much out wide and all that as well. And the position he took up was similar to the one for the ball that he put in for Gigi against Hearts as well. He put that ball in with his right foot, remember? So the ball that he put in just tonight, fantastic. And I think we've got a right good player. It's funny because you say he's 21. The impact he's made is a lot like when we brought in, again, from the lower tiers of the English league, was Chris Commons, of course. Got him in for such a low fee, and he just made such immediate impact. But Commons was, of course, getting on. We look at O'Reilly, we look at the age, and he's got his best years ahead of him. Yeah. I really, really hope that that's going to be with us.
Yeah, I mean, sorry everyone, I didn't mean to wish him away. I hope he's at Celtic for a long time. But
are you getting pelters?
No, I'm just, well, I don't know. I don't even look at the comments anymore, Stevie.
I gave up.
No, I just think O'Reilly, but when you look at how good that guy could be, it's actually quite scary. I mean, I tweeted at half time, maybe just a bit taken aback with how good he had been in the first half, because I was actually surprised by how good he'd been. He was excellent. I tweeted about the fact that I think he can play for three countries, England, Denmark and Norway, and I think he looks at himself as being mainly Danish. And I was asking the question, how long is it before Denmark, who, let's just say, are an exceptional elite international side, but how long, when he's playing like this, and if he continues to play like this, how long will it be before they add him into a squad for some international games? Because the guy is a hell of a player, and the fact that he's a hell of a player and Hatate is a hell of a player, wasn't quite as good tonight, but it's a hell of a player, and obviously we know what Tom Rogic can do, and even David Turnbull as well. The fact that 2 of those guys are going to be sitting on the bench every game this season is just a scary thought. I think O'Reilly's brilliant, but we've probably spoken too long on him, unless you get any other comments you want to make. What about this? He reminds me of a peak Stuart Armstrong. You're good for a wee comparison. I lost that comment. You're good for a wee comparison now and again. So do he remind you of any Celtic players of the past?
Now he genuinely does. His touch, and certainly just for the fact that he really gives the ball away, and he's just so creative. He genuinely does remind me of Tom Rogic. And that's not me being lazy because my brain's going all over the place after that game. But he genuinely does remind me of like it's having two Rogic's on that side. In terms of Armstrong, I don't know, but we wouldn't say that he's got off to he's opened his score sheet tonight. But Armstrong was always making like late runs into the box from from central positions. Not seen enough of that from O'Reilly so far. He seems to be going out wide a lot. He seems to be sort of hanging out side the box a lot. He's not sort of making runs inside it, but maybe that will come down the line anyway. But I think we can all agree he's just great to watch. It's been some find for Celtic. Great recruitment.
Hatate maybe more of an Armstrong, just the way he kind of receives the ball and quickly moves it, and obviously being right-footed helps as well. What happened in the second half then, Stevie? Because Celtic were in cruise control, as we touched on earlier. It almost seemed too easy for us, and in the second half we ended up in, let's face it, a little bit of a pickle. It goes to 2-1. A clever, training ground set piece from Aberdeen. Another set piece makes it 2-2. They had a goal disallowed for a rightful offside just before that, and we were in a bit of disarray. And as we say, it's happened a fair bit this season, and we don't want to just brush over it. It was a bit of a shock to see Celtic play so well and be so in command in the first half to go to being in a bit of a sticky position 15-20 minutes later.
Yeah, it was a strange one, Hamish. I think first of all, when they've brought Ross McCrory into midfield and then they moved to a back four, we seemed to focus on more what Aberdeen's changes were instead of just naturally playing our own game. Like we seem very reactive, and all of a sudden just wee things like in the first 5 minutes in the second half, just we were so sloppy in possession. In Aberdeen, just how it is in the first, Aberdeen, we probably went into the end of the first half thinking, how has it only been two? That because of the way we were playing football, like keeping the ball, they couldn't get anywhere near us. And then I think they started noticing that we were being sloppy in possession, careless, putting the ball out. Ralston in particular was bad for it. And then all of a sudden, if you're a player, you've made your manager's made changes. He's obviously went through them at half time as well, but it certainly seemed to me that we were certainly focusing more on Aberdeen and our changes, instead of just playing our own natural game. I don't know if a lot of that's maybe down to tiredness creeping in as well, Hamish, at times, because of how much we put into games. It could be a combination of attitude and just a bit of naivety as well among these players, and hopefully they'll all learn from it. But yeah, it was annoying to see. I'm glad it didn't cost us in the end, but in another day it really could have.
And I think that's just a reminder of how tight things are at the top, and our form's been so amazing, and we're now top of the league, but there's still little margin for error, because if we don't find that winning goal tonight, we're currently sitting second in the league. So that's how on top of it Celtic need to be. And yeah, there's been a few times this season it's happened. I think for all the plaudits the team's been getting, and the defence in particular, I still think there's some worries sometimes when teams get really physical with us. I think Aberdeen clearly did that in the second half. Ramirez, their big striker, was barely in the game in the first half. The second half, he was probably their main guy. And I still think that we struggle a little bit when a team really goes after us. Ross County did it in that game just prior to Christmas. Hearts did it last week when they stuck the big fella, Sims, I think his name is, up top. I still think Celtic, that's something we can work on. Perhaps Christopher Julian, when he gets back in the team, that's something that will be solved a little bit, although that's obviously a debate in itself, because Starfelt and CCV have been doing well so far. I think another issue is that Celtic can get a little bit flustered at times, and I'm talking about the whole team there. And just to pick out one player, Hatate, who I think I would agree we all love. We absolutely love him. And personally, what I love about him is he does things quickly. He doesn't take touches when he doesn't need to. If he gets the ball, the amount of times Hatate will get the ball in the middle of the park, and it's almost like tiki-taka. Obviously not to the same level, but he's getting the ball and he's moving it one touch, getting it back one touch with McGregor or Rogic or O'Reilly. And that's great. It's great when it's working, it's great because we move the ball quickly. But sometimes when we're under the cosh a little bit, I think he gives the ball away, Hatate. That's what he does. He's like Bruno Fernandes. He tries things, they come off, he looks amazing. Some of the times he gives it away. And I think sometimes when we're under the cosh, he does give the ball away a little bit. He wasn't the only one, and I'm not picking on him. I'm just picking him out as an example of where I think Celtic as a team can be better. Just getting that control back sooner, because we did lose control. Ange goes on about control pretty much every game, in his post-match comments, and we did lose control of that game in the second half, and we lost 2 goals as a result. And it's only really because Aberdeen did an Aberdeen/Celtic found a way to win that we eventually did get the 3 points, but maybe against a better team that really cost us.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said there, Hamish. I think you can afford like 1 or 2 players to have off days if they are a 9, are right on the ball. And I think that's all we saw tonight with Hatate. It was just an off night, and generally in the first half, even in the first half as well, don't think he was
did
great.
Some great things though in the first half.
He did, but yeah, it was. But at the same time, I felt with Hatate was a passenger at times. But I think I was looking at the manager to make changes far sooner, because to everybody watching, to me, you, all the viewers, everyone, it was evident, even before Aberdeen got the first goal, Hamish, that we were losing a grip of the game. We needed some steel in midfield, and we needed somebody just to come on and take the sting out of it. I think the manager was persisting too much with that midfield free.
Sorry to interrupt, just to play devil's advocate, is that on the manager though, or is that on the team to kind of sort that quicker?
I would say it's on the manager, because he can see what's happening. No, I mean, it's all the manager takes the plaudits when things are going well, but obviously when we're all seeing that we were losing a grip in that game, it's before Aberdeen even scored. To me, that's when I would be making a change, just to take the sting out of the game, to slow it down. We didn't need to go, high tempo all the 90 anyway. And a lot of things as well was just, I was very concerned that there was no subs up until it was after 70 minutes. I was very surprised at that too. I know Ange was saying that we're looking to go to these games and score 4, 5, 6, but no, we'll run ourselves into the ground. But it's it's not going to be realistic like that. Aberdeen was a very, very different game to what Motherwell was, and it was always going to be that type of game as well, Hamish.
Yeah. I just felt for that part of the game that we lost control, and we got it back to an extent, but even late on in the game, we're going through that thing again that Ange spoke about the other day, whereas when we're playing so well and we should have the game out of sight, really, we end up in a battle in the last 15-20 minutes, and that right there is that's the improvement there. That's what Celtic need to improve on, because when we do, we're going to be unstoppable, because every game's going to be like Fir Park. Well, not every game, but most games are going to be like Fir Park and Rangers. The positives are that we found a way to win. Once again, we've gone to a really tough away ground, and we've found a way to win the game. And Jota once again just comes big, against Aberdeen, and it's actually his first goals tonight again since the last game against Aberdeen. He scored 4 goals against them this season. He scored, I think, an 1/8 of the goals Aberdeen have conceded in the league have been scored by Jota. And I'll differ from you slightly. I didn't think Jota was brilliant tonight in terms of his actual performance, but it's such a huge accolade to him, and a real plaudit that he scores 2 goals. Once again, I thought this is a guy we would sign that would be fancy but not have much end product. But his 2 finishes tonight, especially the second one, a huge moment in the game, was brilliant. It
was, and I like the way that he had it down into the ground as well. Yeah. It was a really, really smart finish. But I noticed that was 4 goals against them now. He's scored very big goals for us this season. I would say as well, the impact he made was probably more impressive than the overall performance, Hamish. But yeah, I don't think there's any Celtic fan coming out of that game complaining about Jota one way or another, because again, match winner, big game player, and it's just
actually says more about him when he in my opinion, doesn't have the most amazing game but still comes away with 2 goals. It says even more about him.
It's another just 2 big reasons in it, isn't it, just to get him permanently.
Are we just going to continue that whole thing about signing him up Celtic, or are we leaving that till the end of the season?
I mean, I think everyone and yourself know how important it would be. It'd be a huge statement signing for us, but still just trying to enjoy him. Now, I think overall, instead of just focusing on one player, we've got to be happy for the team in those 3 points and see where we are at the end of the season in that respect.
I thought it was, a wee bit of a frustrating night for a couple of other attacking players. I thought Maida made a lot of really good runs, but just didn't quite have the finish. I thought Abada had a decent enough game, but wasn't quite getting into the areas that he has done in recent games. It's
a very weird one. Honestly, I was surprised by the fact that we weren't picking out Maeda's runs. I watched Aberdeen at the weekend. They were terrible against Livingston. Like, their two centre halves were there to be got at. Alan Forrest just ran through the middle of them, just threw one sort of pass right through them, and then he made it 2-0 actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I was very surprised that our midfielders weren't sort of
O'Reilly
quick enough
did
and
tap
alert
him up
enough.
for 2 in the second half.
Yeah, I know, but I thought certainly in the first half, Maeda, the runs he was making, but I just sort of been a quite ball over the top, a lot like Livingston did. I guess in the end, it's unrealistic to always think Maeda's going to make an impact every single game as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought he worked hard, and there was
Oh, he
one
did,
moment in one moment, I think it was in the second half, where he won the ball back really quickly. Like the Aberdeen player was dilly-dallying, and he got in and won it back, and that's exactly what you want. We got the job done tonight. As I say, it's these kind of wins that I think we'll look back on at the end of the season. It really has been a season for results like this. There's been so many of them. There are 3 wins against Aberdeen have all been like this. Our 2 wins against Hearts. We had Motherwell at Celtic Park. There's been a lot of times when questions have been asked of this Celtic team. We've maybe given away daft goals, but they always find a way to win. We're still top of the league, Stevie. We now go into... We get a bit of respite now. That's what we get in this season, because the recent run of Premiership games, 5 of them in a row, is over now. We've played 5 of the best teams in the country. We've played Rangers, Hearts, Motherwell, Dundee United and Aberdeen, who could well make up the top 6 at the end of the season. We've beaten all of them, and now we get a wee bit of respite. We've got the Cup at the weekend. Hopefully you could rest a couple of players there. We might see Christopher Julian back, Ben Doak possibly. And then we've got the Conference League to look forward to next Thursday, and then we're back in action in the league in I think 10 or 11 days time. So just your kind of overall thoughts on the last 5 games. We build it, prior to it, as a major moment in Celtic season, and 15 points out of 15, you can't argue with that.
No, I argue with you for a lot of things, Hamish, but I'm not going to argue with that at all. It was just, when I look back on those wins and the points total, I think I'm relieved that we got the players in and we added to that squad when we did. So I think that was a key sort of moment from the manager and the club in that respect. And you know what? See tonight as well, Hamish, you do need a bit of luck in these games as well, don't you? I mean, that's what I've seen, so many great Celtic sides. I've seen so many average Celtic sides end up winning leagues just by getting a wee bit of luck, and we got it again tonight. But no, overall, I'm not complaining. It's a hard place to go, and they were really sort of buoyant when it was 2 each. I was feeling the worst, but the players showed a lot of character and they showed a lot of bottle to once again sort of get a goal out of nothing and get the 3 points. And that's all we can ask for, certainly at this stage of the season. There's going to be more games like that as well, Hamish. Yeah. Sort of more games like that are nowhere near as entertaining as well. But as long as we win, I'm genuinely not going to be moaning about it.
And that's always a welcome change. Joe Hart's save is worth a mention. What was the Joe Hart save?
I think from Lewis Ferguson at 3-2. I think Lewis Ferguson headed it. And Hart made a decent save.
It's one you was expecting to make, no?
Quite a tight angle, right enough. Do you not remember that?
I do remember it, but it was a relatively straightforward save. I mean, if it went in, you'd be...
A wee small sort of mention to Joe Hart, though, that just annoys me, even at 3-2. Here I am moaning now after saying I wouldn't, but I think Joe Hart was obviously, we always see him, Hamish, when at Celtic Park, even when it's like 4-5-0, gets the ball at goal kicks and he takes it right away. Like he was doing that tonight at Pittodrie when we're 3-2 up. Has to be moments like that, even if Andrew's telling him, no matter what, keep the ball moving forward. You really have to take the sting out of the game. So we did, because he actually did it, and then he just knocked it out of the park, and Aberdeen sort of went forward once more.
But he was then taking his time at the end of the match, wasn't he? He was really running down the clock using his experience.
It was a bit more controlled at the end, but just wee things like that just annoy me, and I think generally the team should be taking more sting out of the games in the moments.
Yeah. Right, Celtic are top of the league. We remain there, 63 points from 26 games, or 1 point clear of Rangers. They beat Hibs tonight. So 26 games played. Interestingly enough, 14 of them for us have been away from home. Rangers have had 14 of their 26 at home. So I think that's a point worth just remembering, that Celtic have had 2 more away games and we're still top of the league. We've ticked off Hearts now. The second time we visited there, we've ticked off Motherwell. We've ticked off Aberdeen. I think now it's Hibs, Livingston and Rangers that are the next 3 real tough games. Our fixtures at Celtic Park are on paper a little bit more forgiving. I think we've got like Dundee, Ross County and St Mirren coming up there, so it's possibly going to come down to our form away from home and continuing to win these matches, or certainly not losing at Ibrox.
I'm half serious when I say this, but out of those away fixtures, it's the Livingston one I'm the most concerned about.
There's no half serious about it. Deadly serious. It's the one that concerns me more even than Ibrox, and that sounds crazy, but it is. I mean, yeah.
I know. I think on here, people will be able to get a good show as long as we don't need to talk about Livingston until the time is near, Hamish. So
I've already booked a holiday away for that weekend because I've been at the Tony Macaroni, I think, 4 times, and I've not seen us score a goal yet. Never seen us score a goal. I've seen us lose 2-0. I've seen us draw 0-0. I've seen us lose 1-0 this season. I think there was another one. Maybe it's just 3 times I've been, but I've never seen us score a goal there. Never mind, win. So I booked away out of the country that day. I'm going to go away somewhere else and definitely not be on this channel. But that's a major one. And then you're we're 26 games gone, Stevie, so we've only got 12 to go. I mean, I know we're only a point clear, but you're almost at the stage now where it's kind of tick off another win, tick off, just keep going. And, it'd be great to have a wee bit more breathing space, but it feels like the kind of season that's going to go right down to the wire.
It does. We've been saying that now, haven't we, since the winter break now, since we came back. It does feel like it's definitely going to go past the split, but bring it on, Hamish. This Celtic team are good enough to do it.
I feel the same way. I think nights like tonight convince you more, because I think the team grinding out results like tonight and like Tynecastle a fortnight ago will only strengthen their resolve, and the next time we're in a situation like that, defending a lead away from home at maybe the Tony Macaroni, then we can find a way to win. Final comment there from Kate. Maida will come good. Give him time to settle in, and thanks very much for the wee dollar, a couple of dollars there.
I have no concerns with Maida at all. Completely believe in him, and I think he'll be a big player for us in the run into.
Definitely. Right, we're going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. There's over 1,600 of you on, sorry. So welcome to 67 Hail Hail if you're new. Give us a wee sub as well as we go for 26,000, I think. That would be much appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Lots coming up on the channel as we look forward now to the Scottish Cup on Sunday. Thanks, Stevie, for your time. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll speak to you soon.